Welcome on to the draft edition episode of the Armchair Titans podcast. Uh, you notice I did not say Titans by two because I think we're going to change that now. Thanks to my guy and our guest tonight, Justin Graver, or AKA known by at Titans Film Room. Justin, what's up, man?
What is up? Not much for me. How you guys doing?
We're
Doing
good,
good.
man. Happy to have you back. It's been a while. I think we had you on last season for the first time, but right now with the draft tomorrow, we definitely want to have you on again to talk draft and pick your brain. So myself, Brett's on, Trey's here, Justin's here, and I think Noah will be hopping on here in a minute. He's running behind, but no big deal. We'll go ahead and get started. So the draft is tomorrow night, just round one in Dallas. I mean, what are you guys most excited about? I mean, draft day for me is always one of the best days of the year as a sports fan. I love watching the draft just because it's been hyped up. I mean, I feel like after the draft is over, we already go ahead and look on for next year. Like, this is the guys we want for next season. Who's the number one pick next year? I love it. So I'm geeked for it.
I'm so ready. What I'm ready for is for the Titans to prove everybody wrong, and Justin's been hitting on it too, and not draft the tight end. That's what I'm ready for, because especially since Justin's been saying if the Titans draft a tight end, his Twitter is gone. So, but honestly, Justin, if they do that too, I'll probably be right there with you and delete something. I don't know if I can delete Twitter, but I'll delete something. But what I'm ready for is I'm ready to see all the names that go before the Titans at 25, because we know the Titans are very needy on defense. So if Harold Landry goes before, if Rashaan Evans goes before, who will still be available for the Titans if they stay at 25? Because they only have 6 picks. The Titans might trade back into the early second round and pick up more picks. So the biggest thing for me is looking at who is drafted from 1 to 24 and who will still be available for the Titans at 25.
Absolutely. And what I'm really, excited for is the atmosphere. The draft every single year, and I remember it being in Philadelphia, the atmosphere for all the fans was just incredible. And you can see all the fans and everybody, different teams just expressing their own fandom. And one of my favorite things about the draft is every time Roger Goodell comes into the podium, he's just paraded with booze, and it's kind of funny, man. But like Brett said, 1 to 24, I'm interested to see what J-Rob does, whether he trades down or even trades up if he's feeling that bold. So we'll see tomorrow night.
I am deathly afraid that they're going to draft a tight end in the first round.
I just don't see that happening. I don't see.
Gosh, they draft a tight end round 1. Twitter's going to be in flames.
It's not happening. Don't worry about it. It's not happening.
Thank you,
I'm
Justin.
very confident it's not happening. I am going to the draft, and Trey, as you pointed out, the thing I'm most excited to do is boo Roger Goodell when he comes on stage for the first time.
So where are you sitting at tomorrow night? Do you know?
Section like 304. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't know how Dallas' stadium works.
Yeah, I saw a picture.
Yeah.
I saw a picture of the setup, and it's like a stage in the middle of the field, and they have like half of it
Yeah.
is behind the stage. So I don't think those seats are even going to be open.
Yeah.
It'll just be on the other side. So I don't know. I'm bringing a camera. There's a limit on how long the lens of a camera can be. So you can't take like a super long telephoto lens and snap amazing photos from the stands. But 6 inches is the limit, and that's pretty decent.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm gonna bring a nice camera and try and get some cool pictures from my seat tomorrow and see what I can do.
That's lit.
For sure. We'll wait here in a minute. We'll do our predictions here in a little bit, but let's go ahead and look at. So, Justin, you help out with Music City Miracles a lot, and you and Mike Herndon, aka at Mike Miracles on Twitter, you guys did a mock draft, and just you guys did all the teams, not just the Titans. So it was kind of cool just to see what you guys did on not a Titans basis. So you guys had the Browns taking Darnold at 1, and not only am I interested to see what the Titans do tomorrow night, but just as a draft as a whole, I'm not only just a Titans fan, but just the draft in general. I love seeing things shake out, where these quarterbacks will go, where will Barkley go, things like that. So you guys had the Browns taking Darnold. Why Darnold, not Allen or somebody else?
So that was my pick. The way we did it was we just alternated,
Right.
and Mike offered up number 1 to me, and I said thank you and took it. And I there's been a lot of buzz about Allen, a lot of buzz about even Mayfield lately, but it doesn't seem like it's warranted buzz to me. But Darnold has like been the guy for so long. You just don't really see people overtake them. Even when guys come out of nowhere, like Carson Wentz came out of nowhere, he never overtook Goff, you know? So it's going to be Darnold, I'm pretty sure.
I agree. I'm with you there. You guys had taken the Giants, taking Saquon Barkley, and I've seen him or Bradley Chubb being taken there too. I think it's one of those guys, even though the Giants are in a weird spot because I still think they do need a quarterback with Eli being at the end of his career. Do they trade back? Do they get more picks? Does somebody like the Bills or the Cardinals or somebody like that trade up to that 2 spot to get their guy? Because we all know that both those teams are in desperate need of a quarterback. So they're in a funky spot. We'll see tomorrow night what they do. But then you had Baker Mayfield, a.k.a. Broadway Baker, going to the Jets. And I think that's a lock for tomorrow night.
Yeah.
I think that is like one of the biggest locks for tomorrow night. And I'm super excited to see where he goes. I'm a big fan. I'm a fan of all these quarterbacks. I've said this for a while now. I don't have a problem with any of these guys. So I'm from Mason Rudolph to Lamar Jackson in between. Like I think I'm a fan of them all.
Yeah, I agree.
So something else you did, I saw at 6, you had the Colts taking Roquan Smith, and we know how bad that O-line has been for so long with the Colts. Why not a guy like Quentin Nelson?
Mike made that pick,
Okay,
and when he made
blame him then.
when he made that pick, I said,
Yeah,
"That's scary. I don't want Roquan Smith to go to the Colts."
heck no.
But I mean, they need it. They need a player like that on that side of the ball. I don't think it's that big of a reach or a stretch to see him going there. I think it could happen, but I think Indy's a team that really wants to trade back, so I think they're going to trade down.
The one thing that I don't want to see is Saquon go to Indianapolis, because then that puts Saquon in our division, and that puts Leonard Fournette in our division, and then a dual threat quarterback like Deshaun Watson. I'm just ready.
And Derrick Henry is still the best back in the division.
I mean, yeah, you weren't wrong.
I'm just
You're
ready.
not wrong.
I mean, I don't know. I obviously the AFC South is getting better, and it's becoming one of the better divisions in football. Years down the road, it will be probably, but I'm just ready to start dominating now, and I don't want to see these good players go to the teams in our division.
I just don't want to see the Colts trade down even more because their roster is talentless. They're basically talentless on both sides of the ball, excluding Andrew Luck and I guess T.Y. Hilton. So
If Luck can get on the field.
Yeah, the more picks they get, the more ammo they have to select young players. So I want them to at least just maybe take a player at 6 and not get all the picks. So.
Yeah. I hope they take the wrong player at 6.
Yep.
Just to know who it is.
Take somebody that's projected to be like in the 5th round.
I hope the Colts forget to pick.
Yeah.
Forget to pick.
It's happened like once or twice before, right?
The Colts,
like they just don't get their card in, and they just have to like, you know what? Sorry, guys. Who's up next? The Bucks are up next. And you're like, no, wait a minute, wait. That'd be awesome to see. What's up, Noah? Welcome in, man.
What's up, guys?
What's up, man?
All right, so Justin, we'll go to the most important pick tomorrow night, and that is the Titans at 25.
Can I talk about something before we get there?
Go for it, dude.
At 17, the Chargers. I picked Josh Jackson to the Chargers there.
Okay.
This is the pick that I regret the most in this entire game. Upon reflection, it just doesn't really make sense. I don't think that they would pass on McGlinchey, who went.
I was gonna say, so I did one today, and I had them taking.
I don't know why I did that.
I had them taking McGlinchey as well. And if not him, it was Connor Williams. So I think they go with line for sure.
Yeah,
I've seen a few mock drafts of them taking a quarterback, and that didn't make any sense to me.
Not that high. I have them taking, or I think we have them taking a quarterback later, but not that high.
Right.
And then at 19, I chose Connor Williams to the Cowboys. I'm going to spill a little secret. This is breaking news. Not really, but it is an inside tip I got. So I went to the University of Texas, and
fake UT. I'm sorry, that's the fake UT. I got
There's a Texas blanket on my bed right now.
Yeah,
that's the fake UT.
Fake UT, man.
Anyway.
It's the real UT, Justin. Hey, these guys have no idea what they're talking about.
Hostile territory. I'm not. Yeah. I understand. So my one of the guys I went to school with, his little sister is dating Connor Williams.
Okay. All right. Here we go. We're getting somewhere.
Wow.
Okay. All right.
And this guy doesn't really follow the draft or anything, and I think he thinks I'm a Cowboys fan just from the way he talked to me. But he said that Connor said, the Cowboys are showing a lot of interest in him, which is interesting because he's not really been reported that nationally, and also they're not really being projected to take an offensive lineman in the first round by very many people. It's like wide receiver or defensive edge or linebacker, but or defensive line. But I think that based on what he told me, I just did this just in case it actually happens. Then I can have a source
Ooh.
tonight.
I was gonna say you got to tweet it out tomorrow. Just like bold
Break it out
prediction,
there.
Connor Williams to the Cowboys. But
And
I
I
mean-
also think it makes sense because Connor Williams' best fit appears to be at right tackle, and the Cowboys kind of struggled there with Lael Collins. They can move
Yeah.
Lael Collins back to guard where he belongs. They have a pedigree of drafting first-round offensive linemen, and their offensive line took a step back last year, and you could say that a lot of their entire offense struggled because of it. And I just think that there's so many receivers in this draft that you can take in the second and third round that they're not going to go with one in the first.
no, I agree.
And
And the defensive line depth is in this draft. I have the Cowboys getting Sam Hubbard at 50. I think this would be a home run draft for the Cowboys.
For sure.
Home run to the first, Sam Hubbard in the second. So anyway, it's kind of an out there pick, but I just wanted to explain it really quick. Okay.
No, I like that a lot. I mean, and it makes more sense because nobody's reporting it. Nobody's even thinking Connor Williams at 19 of the Cowboys. So it makes you look that much more
That's what we
knowledgeable.
That's what we do here, though. We bring news to you that y'all don't even know about.
For real.
So something else. Did it kill you or Mike when you saw Harold Landry go to 20 to the Lions? Does that make any sense? Do you think they go Geis? Because I think that's a guy that's been linked to them a lot.
Interesting. No, we actually kind of were joking throughout the draft. We were going like, okay, where do we slot Landry? Because Mike and I both really like Harold Landry, and Mike actually has him rated higher than Bradley Chubb as purely as an edge rusher.
Wow.
Chubb obviously better against the run, but
Wow.
I think that 20 is as far as he falls. And if he is still there after 20, somebody else is going to trade up and take him.
The Titans have to. The
It
Titans
could
have
be.
to.
It could be the Titans. If he actually falls that far, I think that's really an outlandish expectation, though. I think he is gone in the top 20 and wouldn't be shocked to see him go in the top 10.
You think the Patriots take a look at him if he drops below 20?
Yeah, I think
For
he'd
sure,
be.
yeah.
I think that would be absolutely something that could happen. And I also almost mocked. I had the Patriots pick at 23. I also did kind of an out there one with Courtland.
I saw that.
Sutton,
I'm
but,
looking at that now.
but they did work him out privately, so it's not totally out of nowhere. And obviously, they have no freaking pass catchers now, except for Julian Edelman, and Gronk. I guess is coming back maybe for one more year, right? How much longer is that going to be though? So.
They're going to find a couple of no names, though. They're going to sign some free
They'll
agents that
just
nobody's ever
stick
heard of.
Yeah,
some
that's
lacrosse
true.
players at wide receiver. on the board.
But I almost had them. I almost took Josh Sweat with that pick, and
That's my guy.
part of that would have been because I didn't want to have to do this on MCM Music City Miracles, where I've become like infamous for just like relentlessly defending Josh Sweat and like it's getting annoying and stuff. So
Doing
like,
the Lord's work, man. Lord's work.
Stand
Yeah,
your ground.
let's go ahead and just get to it then, because Justin, I mean, that's been your guy for a long time, and I think you have gotten a lot of Titans fans on the train of Josh Sweat, and so that's who you took at 25 on the mock draft. Just kind of break it down. Why does Josh Sweat make so much sense for the Titans?
okay, I'll start off by saying I want to start off being contrarian because I feel like there's most common Titans fans disagree with this based on what I've been seeing everywhere. The other options here are obviously Rashad Evans. I think that's probably everyone else's like
Right.
top choice for the most part. But if you just look at what the Titans have been doing since John Robinson took over and who he's been looking at in the draft this year, they don't take players that they haven't met with this high in the draft. And they haven't met with Rashad Evans. Now, maybe they talked to him at his pro day and that was enough. Or maybe, they've got information from other guys that they've met with and coaches that they know through their new coaching staff that all came from the college ranks. But it just seems like they would have done more work on him and we would have heard about it by now if he was really in play. And based on the quality of guys they're looking at, I really think trading down is going to be what happens, just because they have the amount of first round talent they've been bringing in on private visits and workouts and stuff is pretty either not like substantial, or it's Josh Jackson and Jair Alexander, who, if they picked a cornerback at 25, it wouldn't be bad, but it would be shocking.
Right.
I mean, that player might not play unless somebody gets hurt, you know? So in the first round, that'd be crazy. But not totally out of nowhere. Or I think they met with James Daniels at his pro day, but they didn't meet with Josie Jewell, inside linebacker, who's projected to go in the second round. They haven't met with the Vander Esch. Visit got canceled. They didn't even talk to Roquan Smith in the case that he dropped a little bit and a trade-up option appeared. Like, they haven't been looking at first-round inside linebackers. They have been looking at Josh Sweat, Sam Hubbard, Uchenna Nwosu, I think is how you say it, from USC. And a lot of guys that are edge players that are projected to go at least in the second round, if not the first. And Josh Sweat is a polarizing prospect because he had quote-unquote low production, which, by the way, it wasn't that low. It was pretty comparable to Sam Hubbard. I think he had like 4.5 less tackles for loss and 2.5 less sacks or something over the same amount of time. And Josh Sweat, the other big concerns with him are that he is all potential, no production, that his knee is a problem and it's going to continue to be a problem. And all the concerns with Josh Sweat, like that are being reported, that I can understand people having them because they just read the reports and then that's what they base their opinions off of. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, not everyone has the time to devote to studying the draft the way that we do. You know, it's like that's why we do this. And I feel like people aren't listening to people who have really studied Josh Sweat.
Right.
Like, we didn't just see a highlight video and go, oh my gosh, this guy could be amazing. We didn't just see his combine scores and say, wow, DGB, come back to the Titans in the form of an outside linebacker.
It makes sense.
Like, this is something that I think the depressed value of Josh Sweat comes from a strange confluence of factors that just happen to line up for him. Kind of similar to Rob Gronkowski, by the way, who John Robinson stood on the table for in the Patriots war room and convinced Bill Belichick to draft. Let's talk about Rob Gronkowski for a second.
That's the thing that got me sold on John Robinson.
Yeah, same. I saw a video right after we hired him of that, but I haven't.
There's a video of that?
I have not been able to find it since. So
okay. I'm gonna have to go look at that.
I guess.
Go ahead with Gronk. Go ahead with Gronk.
Gronk was very highly touted prospect at Arizona at tight end, but he didn't really get, like, athletically, but he didn't really get that much usage as a pass catching tight end because he played in the college offense, and he had a back injury his senior year that required surgery, or not his senior year, his junior year, that required surgery, and then he didn't go back to school. He didn't ever play again. So he had a back surgery the year he was entering the draft. That is a crazy medical concern. But John Robinson said, I trust the player that I see on tape when he is used correctly, and I trust the athletic upside that he hasn't even met his full potential yet. And he defended him to Bill Belichick, who passed on him in the first round. He was still sitting there in the second, and John Robinson said, take another look at this guy. And, well, Gronk is who he is. And I think Josh Sweat is comparable in the sense that, I mean, this is like, everyone has heard this by now, but he wasn't used right at Florida State because they lined him up with both hands on the ground, a 4-point stance, as like a 3-tech defensive tackle and a 3-4 defensive end and 3-4, or like on the hand in the dirt as a 4-3 end, but with guys outside, like going through the B gaps instead of rushing the C gap like an outside linebacker would. And everyone's heard about that by now. And then the knee injury, if you dig into the like stories and look at what's actually going on, you'll see that the injury happened a long time ago. It's like, are you guys worried about Jack Conklin? You know, he tore his ACL.
Yeah, exactly.
Is anyone worried that he's not going to come back? You know,
I think it'll be fine. I mean, there's a concern, obviously, but I think
there's like a 5% chance that he has a major setback and he's never the same player. But
there's a chance anybody gets rolled up on.
Yeah, exactly. The injury concerns with Josh Sweat are like, if he stays healthy, you have to say that about every player in the draft.
Everybody.
Right now, Josh Sweat is not any more injured than any other player.
Right.
It's different if it's like Kevin Dodd coming out of college
Who had a foot.
who had the foot injury.
It was already an
Exactly.
injury.
It's already
and he
there,
wasn't
and
healthy.
foot injuries are hard to come back from, and it's still bothering him now. But
Yeah.
Josh Sweat had 138 tackles and 17.5 sacks in 3 years for a reason.
Yeah.
Josh Sweat is a baller, and I know a lot of people aren't predicting him in the first round. One of my friends, who's a Florida State fan, did a mock draft of Sweat going in the 3rd round.
That's crazy.
Which is ridiculous. I know, and I know he's going to listen to this podcast too. He listens to him every week. So Sean, when you listen to this, dude, you're crazy. You're wrong. Sweat goes in the 3rd round, and I would love for the Titans to take him there at 25.
Man,
I want to say one more thing about Josh Sweat, being that
Please do.
well, I have a lot more things to say if
Preach.
you guys will let me if we have enough time for this. But
All day.
on the used incorrectly thing, I think that term gets thrown around a lot, and people are like, well, oh yeah, I doubt Florida State coaches were dumb enough to use them incorrectly. Like, yeah, right. Okay, there's a difference between, I think used incorrectly is a phrase that is used incorrectly, because really he was used correctly for what Florida State needed him to be, because he, if you watch the tape, is dominating at getting in the backfield and stopping the run and reading those, right? And reading those plays and and knowing so his job was to read the tackle movement, and that's when he goes off the snap. He wasn't going off the ball very much. And then he's a 2-gapping, which means that he has to guard 2 gaps based on which way the play is run. So he engages the tackle, stands them up at the point of attack, and then sheds left or right based on which way he needs to go to make the tackle. So
did that pretty well, man.
And he did it really well. And Florida State is a college with, yes, they get really some of the best talent in the nation, but they're not like the NFL, okay? In college, a 275-pound, 250-pound, Josh Sweat's 250 pounds, outside linebacker, can be your 280-pound defensive tackle because he's just better at it than anyone you can get at the college level. But when you get to the NFL, you have Jarrell Casey and Daquan Jones and Austin Johnson doing that. You don't need to move Josh Sweat there. You finally have the freedom to put him where he does his most impressive damage. And Florida State just doesn't have that luxury because they're a college, and that's why players get used incorrectly at college all the time, because they have to just put them where they can to make the best plays for their team.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can play. He can play defensive tackle,
right?
But he's better suited to play outside linebacker.
Exactly.
Put him on and get to the quarterback. Just because he can do something doesn't mean it's his best place to be. He can play where he played at Florida State, but he's definitely not suited to play where he plays at Florida State.
Right, and nor will he be asked to in the NFL. And so If you isolate his plays to where he's rushing from a wide 9 or off ball or stand-up stance as a true outside linebacker or even as a 4-3 end, you can see and I don't want to say potential or upside, but it's the only words for it. But you can see what he can do. I mean, he is his hands, they call them heavy hands. It's where you chop the offensive tackle's hands off of you so aggressively and powerfully that you knock them clean off, and it allows you to swim or dip or spin or do whatever to get around. He has incredible hands. His timing with his hand placement and hand usage is excellent, and his hands are so violent and aggressive. On top of that, he's shown an array of moves as a pass rusher. He can just beat you with pure speed on the edge, and his dip and bend. His bend is really impressively incredible. It's among the elite levels of it's just like, I don't know how, if you actually watch the pass rushing snaps, you don't see what he can be in the NFL if asked to do that full time. And you say, like, those are things that, like, does the tape match his athleticism scores? And you see the pass rushing plays. I mean, there's I can pull 5 plays from the Duke game where he comes around the top of the screen, just beats the right tackle with pure speed, and his bend to turn the corner and get to the quarterback is otherworldly.
Yeah, Josh Sweat is a case where too many people are looking at stats and not too many people are looking at tape. If you look at the tape of Josh Sweat, he's a first-round pick. I mean, to me, it's clear he's a first-round pick. The injury thing to me is that's everybody. And if you look at him on tape, and like you just went through all of the stuff that he has, it's a clear first-round pick. At 25, I mean, John Robinson should be all over that, in my opinion.
And I still hate, how I know people love Harold Landry, and I know people love Marcus Davenport, but Marcus Davenport, I don't think is a better pure pass rusher than Josh Sweat. He has the strength, but he doesn't have the bend, and he doesn't have nearly the speed as Josh Sweat has, and what Josh Sweat can give you as a pure speed and power rusher off the edge, man.
Trey, it's funny you mentioned that because in this mock draft of Justin's, Marcus Davenport's going a pick earlier than Josh Sweat at 24 to the Panthers. So,
but I think he fits better there. I think
right. I agree. Yeah. All right, so we can talk about Josh Sweat online. Let's go ahead and
can I do one more thing on Josh Sweat?
Go for it.
I think it's worth spending the time on him because I honestly think he's going to be the pick. So anyway,
right.
My last thing is the whole thing about him falling to the third round in some of these projections is absolutely asinine, insane, dumb, will not happen, because even if the Titans aren't the team to draft him, look at John Ross last year. Where was John Ross projected to be drafted, right?
My God,
this is what the NFL does. Where was Will Fuller projected to be drafted? He wasn't projected to go 21 overall. That was a lot higher than he was expected to go.
Yeah.
And Josh Sweat is an athletic freak, and the NFL has an ego problem where their coaches believe that they can turn athletic freaks into great football players. Josh Sweat is already a pretty good football player. He's not someone that you need to rely on turning him into a great football player for him to pay off as a pick. But because of his athletic upside, all it takes is one team that sees the combine scores and says, wait, this guy, it's a second round. This guy's still on the board. No way. He's ours now. Like he's not falling to the third round. That's not how the NFL works. They always overdraft speed. And for that, on that note, DJ Chark is probably going to be a first round pick purely because of his speed. Ted Ginn went number 9 overall. DJ Chark, better than Ted Ginn. So I don't know. He's going in the first round too. Bold prediction.
I'm going to send this podcast, Justin, to Josh Sweat's parents, and they'll probably invite you to Thanksgiving, Christmas, just because how you talked about their son. No, but I'm with you. I mean, there's nothing against Josh Sweat. If he's the pick tomorrow night, I think we'll all be jumping for joy that we finally got the Titans got a pass rusher for the future. We know it's a big, big need, but if it's also guys like Rashaan Evans and Harold Landry, I think we'll still be fine with the pick. But for sure, I could see why you like Josh Sweat so much. I
still hear this that people throw out there that he's not going to play as much early on if he gets drafted here. I mean, both of our pass rushers are finna be one is 30, one is finna be 30. Still hate that.
Yeah. So you took Jesse Bates in the second round for the Titans, the safety out of Wake Forest. Why that pick? In just a few sentences.
To be honest, I've only watched a couple games of Jesse Bates, but Mike sold me on him. No, we considered a few guys here, but Bates is being projected to go at the end of the first or top of the second these days. So at the end of the second, to get a player who is extremely versatile, which Vrabel's already talked a lot about versatility, and just they've been looking at safeties. They've looked at Justin Reed, Ronnie Harrison, Jesse Bates, and a few others. They were at Texas Pro Day, and I think they talked to Deshaun Elliott there. But it just seems like they're going to spend a high pick on a safety base if you're connecting their visits.
Right. Real quick on safeties and Jesse Bates. I don't know if you heard the last time I was on here, I went on a rant about Jonathan Cyprien. So if they take a safety in the top, anywhere near the top of the draft, I will be screaming with joy because I think Jonathan Cyprien is a joke at strong safety. I'm not a Jonathan Cyprien fan at all. So Jesse Bates or whoever it needs to be, please take a safety. John Robinson, please take a safety.
I just think it's going to happen positionally. I mean, if you just don't look at the players themselves, just the number of players at this position they've been looking at. It just seems likely to me.
Right. And there's other guys that you said that could be there for the Titans there at 50, was it 7? Malik Jefferson is a pick that I like a lot. There's a lot of guys that could be there. In the third round, you took, if I could find it, a surprise to me, in my opinion. And that's just because, one, I'm a Vandy fan, and I don't see this guy going as high as he is. But I could be wrong, just because I've seen Oren Burks play so long at Vandy. He's just been the best player at all times on the field. But that's just because Vandy's been so bad. So I don't know how well he'll be on the next level. But Oren Burks was your pick at 89 in the third round, and you have him playing inside linebacker here, which he can. He's that big and he's that versatile to do that. Listen, if it happened, great. John Robinson I think he now likes the hometown guys. He's kind of staying closer to home. You saw Kevin Byard and you saw Taywan Taylor, and those are both local visits. So this was the same thing with them. I think they actually went to Vandy for the pro day. So the reason behind that pick, go for it.
So Oren Burks, 4-year starter at Vanderbilt, which, John Robinson likes his 4-year starters. What's really interesting about him is he played his first 2 years at safety, and then they pulled a Mark Barron on him and moved him to inside linebacker, which, as I just talked about with my previous selection, versatility, they've already talked about wanting guys that can play multiple spots. Here's a Mike Vrabel quote. "Versatility is a huge thing. If you're a versatile player capable of learning more than one spot, then we can move you around and create matchups." So Burks, he's not great at coming downhill and stopping the run. I've seen him projected everywhere from the 3rd all the way to the 5th or 6th round. And we talked about that here, how we didn't really love the value of the pick. But I think John Robinson's a guy who doesn't always love the value of the pick. Kevin Byard in the 3rd round because he didn't have a pick again until the 5th round, but he needed to get Kevin Byard. I think it could be a situation like that because we were looking at all the guys that were available. And I discussed this in the article, but Mike and I threw around Jerome Baker, who I also think this is too high to take, Martinez Rankin, offensive lineman, Carlton Davis, cornerback from Auburn, Tayshaun Hamilton, extremely good route runner, wide receiver from Penn State, Deion Kane from Clemson, who's kind of a speed guy. I don't really like Deion Kane that much, but
I don't either.
Mike threw out Arden Key, and I said, no, thanks. We even talked about a couple tight ends in Mark Andrews and Ian Thomas, and then at the very last second, right before we were about to turn in the card, we were giving ourselves just,
I like that before.
I threw out Kiki Kuti, and I actually like Kiki Kuti here if they don't go Oren Burks, or inside line. If they go offense this early, I like Kiki Kuti, but
That kind of reminds me of, 3rd round, I think, for the Titans is really just one of these. They can go wherever they want to go.
Yeah.
As long as they address those linebacker early. And then safety, in my mind, I think safety has to be picked. Then you can go wherever you want to go. You can go wide receiver. You can go guard if you don't like the guards you already picked up. But, safety has to be done. But once you get those two done, you can go best player on the board or whoever John Robinson.
Yeah. No one just wants to trade this year's pick and next year's pick and go draft Derwin James or something.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Go ahead and do that. Just trade every pick we got and go get Fitzpatrick.
John Stripling gets released. No one wants to be in the room.
Yes. Screaming safety. I'm just screaming safety, holding a sign outside that says safety on it.
I think some guys, just to throw out there, since we can just awesome article, Justin, for sure. I'm a big fan of that.
Really
on top of that, though, just some guys that I've been watching for a while and just looking around at. I'll give you like 6 names. Anthony Miller, love him. If he's a Titan, come on, I'll buy his jersey. I'm a big Anthony fan. On top of that, my guy Richie James for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Middle made. And then you got I love Malik Jefferson. I watched him play a lot at Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, listen, Texas is my second team, so I watch them play every Saturday. So I love watching him specifically.
I will say that Malik was the guy I wanted at this pick, and he didn't fall that far.
Right.
So I hope that in a real life situation, I might have tried to trade up for him from this pick, just because the value here is really garbage at this point. But if you can get up there high enough to get Malik, then I think you can make that pick worthwhile. Anyway, continue your list.
Even Shaq Griffin. I just love his story. I don't even think – listen, if the Titans got him, it'd be cool. I think, one, they get a lot of national publicity for that. But, two, I just love him. I love his game. You almost don't even notice his nub. Is that okay to call it his nub? Is that okay? Is that bad to call it that?
He said nub. Oh, my God.
One arm? I don't want to say one arm. He's got 2 arms. He just has one hand. You can call it whatever it is. I love him, though. I think he's awesome. He's got a great head on his shoulders.
No offense.
So
no offense.
Yeah, if Shaq, if you're listening to this, I love you, dude.
You're a baller, dude. You're a baller.
So that's that. And then my draft crush. And listen, I don't even have an answer for you why, but I watched him on NFL Network late last night, and him and Mooch were going back and forth, and Mooch gave him a play. I'm not going to say his name yet. Mooch gave him a play and drew it out for when he coached T.O. and Jerry Rice. and he drew the play out, called it out, and said, "This is what we did." It was at the goal line, and then he flipped the board over and he said, "Draw the play and name the play and tell me exactly what I did." And it's Mason Rudolph. I love everything about Mason Rudolph. I don't know why. It's just because he's flying under the radar with all these quarterbacks right now that are above him. So I hope he excels somewhere. I think in your mock draft, Justin, you had him going to New England in the second round.
That's where I have him.
I mean, it makes perfect sense. They shipped Garoppolo off for a freaking loaf of bread. Still the stupidest move of the season last season.
More than just last season.
So yeah, Mason Rudolph is my draft crush on top of Sony Michel, and I think Justin. Yeah, I know. I think if Deion Lewis is never signed, that we'd still be having an argument. No, draft Sony Michel in the first round.
I would be.
Exactly, I know. So like since Deion was signed, you kind of moved on to Josh Sweat. I know. So
yeah.
I'm excited for tomorrow night.
Mason Rudolph is probably going to go too high for the Titans to take.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, he's got too much talent to be like a 4th, 5th round pick.
He kind of reminds me of Matt Ryan in the sense that he plays more smart than skilled, I think. And his accuracy is pretty good. It's not amazing. There's every once in a while you're like, whoa, what the heck? Yeah, where did that come from? But generally it's good enough, I think. It's not Josh Allen. And I would, if I was an NFL GM, I haven't got to sit down and talk to these guys, so what the hell do I know? But I would probably take Mason Rudolph before taking Josh Allen.
Wow.
Oh, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. But to me, Mason Rudolph, you have to turn off. I just stop looking at Mason Rudolph's stats because they just score 80 points a game at Oklahoma State.
Big 12. What do you expect?
So I mean, and when I watch him, I think he makes a lot of sense in New England. I picked him going to New England. I think Josh Allen's completion percentage numbers, a lot of it has to do with the fact that Wyoming, the win there, it's impossible to throw a football in Wyoming. It's just if you go, it's crazy watching what balls do when you're throwing the ball in Wyoming. But with Rudolph, I think the Matt Ryan comparison is really interesting because he doesn't just jump off the screen at you as this great passer, but he makes smart throws. And he already looks like he knows what he's doing with the football out there. And, he has a strong enough arm to make every throw you need him to make. And I think that's the kind of guy that Bill Belichick loves. And he just screams Patriot to me. And he just goes about his business. He's not real flashy about it. Mm-hmm. But I think New England makes a lot of sense there. A couple of times I thought they may take him at 31 or come back into the draft, come back for him.
Wouldn't shock me. It would be cool if they traded 31 to us to get Mason Rudolph at 25.
That would be interesting.
I can actually see a little bit of a Mason Rudolph bidding war.
Right, man.
I could too.
Justin, I still think you could get Josh Sweat at 31. So
yeah, I do too. I do too. I think that. Listen, here's the teams that I think could come up for a quarterback right there.
Seattle. Oh, sorry, for a quarterback. I apologize. I think you meant Josh Sweat.
No. Someone who could come up to right there, 25 to take a quarterback. Pittsburgh is sitting at 28. Big Ben, who almost retired in the offseason, and they have Landry Jones or some garbage.
Josh Dobbs.
Sorry, Tennessee fans.
Not bad.
This is an out there one, but Jacksonville at 29. Probably not, but hey, you never know.
No, but we like their quarterback.
Yeah.
Keep them there. Keep them
New England at 31. Cleveland at 33 or 35.
Cleveland.
The Giants at 34. Or this one's a little bit crazier, but if the Broncos do what people aren't really expecting and take
Barkley,
like cornerback or something at number 5, like Denzel Ward, I saw in a mock draft today at number 5 overall, then I could see Denver even coming up.
Another team that I think could come after Rudolph would be the Chargers. I think LA could try to jump back in and get him as well because I think he makes a lot of sense. He could grow behind Phillip Rivers for a couple of years and then take over that starting job.
They don't have a lot of really good ammo there.
No, but they have some players. Everyone always talks about trading picks, but they can trade players as well because I think they're going to need to draft a quarterback at some point.
Oh yeah.
Depends on where, but if they like Rudolph, it wouldn't surprise me to see them do something.
My question for y'all is I'm gonna set an over under here for just for tomorrow night for the first round. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 quarterbacks written down here that are all first round potential, but we'll put the over under at
5.5.
5. We'll put the over under at 5.5. Yeah, out of these 5.5 over under first round quarterbacks tomorrow.
Under.
Under.
Quarterbacks I have written down are Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Josh Rosen, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, and Lamar.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, I wrote down Baker twice, so 5. We'll set it at 4.5.
Yeah, I would say
And
4.
Lamar Jackson.
I got
I think it's 4, and I think Lamar Jackson isn't going to go in the first round, and I think that he is a quarterback. Anybody who says he's not a quarterback is out of their minds, but I don't think Lamar Jackson's a first-round pick.
Lamar Jackson, I don't know why. I've been saying this since the beginning. I really like Lamar Jackson in Arizona.
Yeah, I picked that. I did that. Yes, I agree.
Do we have any before we wrap up? Do we have any bold predictions for tomorrow night? Like, is there something that we didn't see, we don't see happen, but it actually does happen?
3 trades in the top 5.
Okay. Wow. All right. So there's yours. Justin, do you remember last year? And this is actually a curious question. Who were the Chiefs supposed to get last year before Mahomes? Like, who were they projected to get? Like, was there a need they needed, a player they needed before they went and got a quarterback?
Do you have time to make me pull up my mock draft?
Didn't they need linebacker?
Something. So here's my thing, because the Chiefs had me thinking. So I think I'm not a big Andy Dalton fan. So I think the Bengals trade in the top 10 to get a quarterback.
That would be bold as.
That's another place.
That is my bold take for tomorrow night.
I can see Lamar going to Cincinnati at some point.
Wow,
Rosen, Allen. I think the Bengals need to start looking for a future quarterback, and it's not Andy Dalton.
So does Buffalo. It's not going to be A.J. McCarron.
As soon as they get rid of Marvin Lewis, then we can talk about them.
I got a bold prediction for you. I think Bradley Chubb's going to go number 1 overall.
Whoa!
I said it because I think the Browns are going to take Josh Allen at 4.
Browns thing to do.
They're going to take Josh Allen at 4 because they like Tyrod Taylor, and that's why they traded for him.
All right, go Justin.
Allen behind Tyrod Taylor.
I marked Corey Davis to Kansas City at 15 last year, so that's pretty stupid. Okay. No. I think Josh Allen falls further than anyone expects. Boom. That's
So he
all.
pulls
out of the first round, late first round, what?
Late first round. I think Josh Rosen and Josh Allen's like draft narratives that are going on right now should be flipped. Josh Rosen should be gaining lots of steam as the possible first overall pick, and Josh Allen should be sliding. But whatever.
Does Baker make more sense? I think I know what I know, but does Baker make more sense in Denver or in New York?
I want him to go to Denver, but it seems like New York really likes him.
Completely agree with that. I think Denver makes the most sense for him.
Mm-hmm.
My roommate is a huge Denver Broncos fan, also went to the University of Texas, and hates Baker Mayfield. And I want nothing more for him to have to cheer for Baker Mayfield.
That would be like if Blake Bortles all of a sudden became a Titan in a couple years.
Yeah.
Oh,
Don't wish that on us.
Please don't.
Do not wish that on us.
Please don't. No.
So, all right, let's go real quick before we wrap up. Last thing. All right, Brett, you start the Titans draft. If they stick at 25 tomorrow, let's say no trading back, they stick at 25, the Titans get who?
Josh Sweat, defensive end out of Florida State.
Bam, Trey, you're up. This is easy. He's your baby right now.
I want to say Josh Sweat, but John Robinson does some crazy crap sometimes. But, yeah, I'll say Josh Sweat, defensive end for Florida State.
Justin, go.
Josh Sweat.
That was obvious. No, who do you think?
I really hope it's Josh Sweat, but I think it's Rashaan Evans.
All right, so I'm going with Noah just because you guys all said Josh Sweat, so I'm being different. I'll go Rashaan Evans as well. And if it is, it's a linebacker that we need, I think. It makes total sense, but if it's Josh Sweat.
I'm okay with Rashaan Evans or Leighton Vander Esch. I like them both.
Yeah.
Project, man.
Rashaan Evans, I think Rashaan Evans would be a good pick, but a surprising pick based on everything.
That's fair.
I'm with that.
Derrick Henry was a surprising pick too.
Agreed. And I actually think if I had to guess, I say Derrick Henry was a case of John Robinson didn't expect him to be there and was like, I'm going to just snag this guy while I can.
For sure. You have to.
I agree.
I just besides the way I remember I was serving that night. I couldn't take off for night 2 of the draft. And I remember we had a TV in the restaurant. And I looked up, and we were on the clock, and I guess I had to talk to the table. And I came back, and I just saw Derrick Henry highlights, and I literally just stopped. There's no way the Titans just got Derrick Henry. Like, the Titans don't do this. They don't get big-name guys. And then I just see on the bottom, like, Alabama running back. I was like, oh, my God. The Heisman Trophy winner. This is the Titans running back? Are you serious?
Well, I mean,
No.
when you go through years, like I mention every single podcast, I'm gonna mention it till we're done doing this about how bad Rustin Webster was. When you go through years with Rustin Webster, you're not gonna expect big names in the draft, or you expect big names who people already knew that were gonna be trash, except Rustin Webster. So after Rustin was finally gone, that's why things have turned around.
Definitely.
Don't forget
For sure.
fullback in round 4, man. Don't forget.
Oh my god.
Fullback. Yes.
Poor Austin Fowler. Poor guy.
Oh man.
All right, so for Titans, Armchair Titan podcast, man, my guy Justin Graver with us. Follow him at Titans Film Room. Dude, have fun at the draft tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you guys having me on. It was a lot of fun.
For sure. For Noah, Trey, Austin, and Brett, man, this is follow us on Twitter at Armchair Tighten Up. And hey, let's go get Josh Schwartz tomorrow night. Tighten up, guys.
Tighten up.
Turn up.